which is that morality is not just about how we treat each other. It is also about binding groups together, supporting essential institutions, and living in a sanctified and noble way, as was reported by the researcher Haidt in 2008. At the macro level of the observation of people's behavior within a social institution, there are several models and theorists that provide a framework of understanding. The term social institution is somewhat unclear both in ordinary language and in the philosophical literature. Typically, contemporary sociologists use the term to refer to complex social forms that reproduce themselves, such as governments, the family, human languages, universities, hospitals, business corporations, and legal systems. A typical definition is that proffered by Jonathan Turner in 1997. A complex of positions, roles, norms, and values lodged in particular types of social structures and organizing relatively stable patterns of human activity with respect to fundamental problems in producing life-sustaining resources, in reproducing individuals, and in sustaining viable societal structures within a given environment. At a micro level, where the implementation of planned change must take hold to ultimately succeed, there are abundant theories of how to motivate individuals so they may increase their own levels of the satisfaction within the confines of the social institution. Chief among the most widely accepted working models of an applied dictum is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a measure of the individual's drive to attain higher levels of their potential, thus greater degrees of satisfaction, and ultimately achieve higher levels of happiness. Per Boone and Kurtz in 2007, it is the self-actualized individual in Maslow's model who participates and practices the behavioral traits generally associated with creativity, capability, socialization, and etc. Satisfied, happy people generally prefer an existence that is rich in higher quality of life experience rather than being unsatisfied with greater material possessions. Smill, in 2003, suggests that a satisfying quality of life is possible with considerably less throughput than now occurs in affluent and highly developed countries. His findings that non-material quality of life factors are among the most important determinants of both subjective reports of human happiness and objective indices of well-being, which is good news. More recently, various social scientists have researched human happiness around the world. Some common findings emerged despite using different experimental and survey methods and exploring the issue in very different countries. One of the most common conclusions is that money or financial wealth is not the most important determinant beyond an annual per capita income equivalent to $10,000 in purchasing power parity. Happiness is a function of non-material factors. According to Lane in 2000 and other researchers, the support of family, friends, and community, a meaningful role in life, and basic freedoms are much more important at all levels of wealth beyond this range. Building on these and other past studies of workplace dynamics and satisfaction, I believe there exists a critical need for the application of a unifying working model that will equip management with an innovative technique to analyze, diagnose, and prescribe appropriate managerial interventions to achieve satisfaction and happiness in the workplace, as well as performance excellence and maximum client loyalty, given the complex realities of our globalized environment and markets. Such an approach has been proposed by Cardenas and others in their ETK conceptual framework and model focusing on emotional intelligence, technology awareness, and knowledge management. Their publications can be consulted in the participants manual of this program. The alignment or synchronization of internal and external organizational strategies and tactics described through the ETK model can be the answer to a much-awaited method to quantify and assess degrees of global competitiveness in organizations around the world. In another ITC module, my distinguished colleague and world-renowned operations expert, Dr. Meenakshi Krishnamurthy, will share with you how the evolving tenets of the ETK theory and synchronization approach can be actively applied to create significant internal and external organizational synchronizations for optimal organizational performance, worker happiness, and ultimately achieve staunch client loyalty. Thank you.
Let's begin with the first question and answer session. We will try to answer as many questions as possible. Therefore, we ask you that one question be asked per phone call and that these questions be as brief as possible. You may call the studio directly at the phone or fax numbers which appear on your screen, including the ITC iPhone number 688-1700. We'll remind you to make your phone calls at a distance from the monitor to avoid feedback. First question comes to us from Nankai University in Tianjin, China, and this was faxed, so I will read it for you. Don't you think that not being satisfied provide us with a drive to grow and do better? And if this is true, why should organizations promote employee happiness?
It's a very good question. It's a two-part question. And one, yes, satisfaction is a fleeting emotional feeling that we have that is continuously in a dynamic state. So it's possible that we need to be reinforced so that that level of satisfaction does generate a sense of happiness. And corporations need to use that reinforcement pattern to help shape the behavior, the productive behavior they want from their clients.
So it's a dynamic process and one needs to reinforce that on a continuous basis. Krishna?
Yes, I agree with Dr. Nayat. Happiness is definitely a state of the mind, and if you are in a scorching sun, going to the shade makes you happy, and the other way around in a cold climate.
Very good. Now our next question comes from Ecuador. Again, it is faxed in, so I will read it for you. Do you think culture is the most important determinant of happiness?
Actually, I feel that happiness is a state that's experienced by most human beings universally. Therefore, it's not necessarily a cultural effect. However, the way we express the happiness may be somewhat tainted by the culture itself.
Thank you. Quick comment from Krishna?
Yes, culture certainly plays a big role in terms of how you express yourselves.
Great. Thank you for your questions. Let's now move to the second module of our program.
Let me begin with a working definition of the word synchronization in the context of an organization. As stated by Cardenas and Goldstein in 2002, synchronization is a process of linking events and actions so that they occur at the same time or in a predetermined sequence. Accordingly, synchronized organizations are successful and non-synchronized ones are unsuccessful. Synchronized organizations are able to move all their constituent components in concert and in harmony with each other so as to derive maximum synergy with an organization's entity. This leads